Learn English through story. Whispers in the dark. The rain fell relentlessly on the small town of Millfield, creating a symphony of sound that echoed against the pavement and soaked the earth beneath. In the heart of this seemingly peaceful town stood an old, dilapidated library, a once proud establishment that had fallen into disrepair. Its tall, narrow windows were clouded with grime, and the heavy wooden doors creaked ominously as they opened. Inside, dust motes danced in the dim light that filtered through the cracked glass, creating an atmosphere that was both enchanting and airy. Evelyn Matthews, a young woman in her late 20s, had recently returned to Millfield after several years in the city, with dreams of becoming a writer still flickering in her heart. She had taken a job as the library's new director. She felt a deep connection to the place, having spent countless hours there as a child, hiding among the stacks and losing herself in stories of adventure and romance. But now, the library needed her love and attention more than ever. As Evelyn settled into her new role, she discovered that the library had its share of secrets. The townspeople whispered about the place, claiming it was haunted by the spirit of a librarian who had mysteriously disappeared decades ago. Children dared each other to enter the library after dark, and even adults spoke in hushed tones about the whispers in the dark that echoed through the aisles when the moon hung high in the sky. Evelyn was skeptical of such tales, but she couldn't shake the feeling that something was different about the library. As she wandered through the narrow aisles, she often felt an inexplicable chill, as if she were being watched. The sound of her footsteps would echo eerily, bouncing off the walls and mingling with the soft rustle of pages turning as though she was often alone. One fateful evening, as she prepared to close the library, Evelyn stumbled upon an old, leather-bound book hidden away in the depths of the shelves. Its cover was faded and worn, and the spine was cracked with age. Curious, she carefully pulled it from the shelf and wiped away the dust. The title read Whispers in the Dark, and as she flipped through its pages, she was captivated by the haunting stories contained within. Each tale told of love, loss, and longing, woven together by a common thread of longing that transcended time. The stories felt alive, as if they were whispering secrets meant only for her. As she read, the library seemed to fade away, leaving her immersed in a world of magic and mystery. Days turned into weeks, and Evelyn became increasingly enchanted by the book. Each night, she would take it home, poring over its contents, and as she did, she felt an unexplainable connection to the words and the emotions they evoked. It was as if the book was calling to her, urging her to uncover its hidden truths. One rainy evening, while lost in the stories, Evelyn heard a soft whisper echoing through the library. Startled, she glanced around, her heart racing. The sound was faint but unmistakable, as if someone were speaking directly to her. With trepidation, she followed the sound, navigating the labyrinthine aisles. "Who's there?" she called out, her voice trembling slightly. Silence enveloped her, and for a moment, she considered turning back. But the whispering grew louder, drawing her deeper into the shadows. Eventually, she found herself in a small reading nook at the back of the library, where a dim light flickered. There, seated at a table with an open book, was a figure cloaked in darkness. Evelyn's breath caught in her throat as she approached, uncertainty gnawing at her. "Excuse me?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. The figure turned, revealing a handsome man in his 30s, with dark hair and piercing blue eyes that seemed to hold the weight of countless untold stories. "I didn't mean to startle you," he said, a faint smile playing on his lips. "I was just a broken bar drawn to this place." Evelyn felt a strange sense of familiarity wash over her. "I'm Evelyn. I just started working here as the director, Julian," he replied, standing to extend his hand. "It's a pleasure to meet you." As they shook hands, an electric current coursed between them, leaving Evelyn momentarily breathless. She noticed the intensity in Julian's gaze. As if he could see into her soul, they began to talk, their conversation flowing easily as they shared their love for literature and the stories that had shaped their lives. Julian spoke passionately about the power of words, and as the hours slipped away, Evelyn felt a connection with him that was both thrilling and terrifying. But amidst their budding friendship, Evelyn couldn't shake the sense of something darker lurking in the library's shadows. The whispers she had heard continued to haunt her, weaving through her thoughts like an insidious melody. They seemed to echo Julian's own words, and as she got to know him, she began to wonder if the stories in the whispers in the dark book were somehow intertwined with their lives. One evening, as they worked together to organize an upcoming literary event, Julian leaned closer to her, his voice low and conspiratorial. "Do you ever feel like there's something in this library that wants to be discovered, something that's been waiting for the right person to uncover it?" Evelyn's heart raced. "I've felt it too. It's as if the library has a heartbeat of its own." He nodded, his expression serious. "I think there are stories here that are meant to be told, stories that have been forgotten." Intrigued, Evelyn agreed to meet with Julian after hours to explore the library further. As they delved into the dusty shelves, they uncovered more hidden books, each one holding tales of love, loss, and longing, and much like the book that had captivated Evelyn from the start. The atmosphere grew charged with anticipation as they read the stories aloud, their voices echoing through the aisles. Each whisper seemed to beckon them deeper into the library's heart. And with every tale, Evelyn felt a growing sense of destiny. As their explorations continued, Evelyn became increasingly aware of her feelings for Julian. His passion for literature mirrored her own, and their late-night conversations became laced with flirtation. But the whispers in the dark began to take on a more sinister tone, urging her to confront her feelings and the shadows of her past. One night, as they sat together in the reading nook, Evelyn found herself drawn to Julian's warmth. "What if the whispers are guiding us?" she mused, her heart racing. "What if they're leading us to something important?" Julian's eyes sparkled with intrigue. "Maybe they're encouraging us to embrace our desires, to confront the things we've been avoiding." The tension between them grew palpable, and Evelyn felt the walls of her heart begin to crumble. In a moment of vulnerability, she confessed, "I've been afraid to let anyone in since see a broken bar since my last relationship." Julian reached for her hand, his touch sending shivers down her spine. "What happened?" "It ended badly," she admitted, her voice shaking. "He betrayed my trust, and I've been afraid of opening up to anyone since then." Julian's expression softened, and he leaned closer. "You don't have to be afraid with me. I want to understand you." In that moment, the whispers in the dark seemed to crescendo, urging her to take a leap of faith. With a rush of courage, she leaned in and pressed her lips against his. The kiss was electric, igniting a fire within her that she thought had long been extinguished. But as they pulled away, uncertainty crept in. "What if this complicates things?" Evelyn whispered, fear flickering in her eyes. "We can figure it out," Julian replied, his voice steady. "Let's not let fear dictate our choices." Despite their resolve, the shadows continued to linger. The whispers in the dark grew louder, echoing the unspoken fears that haunted Evelyn. She had opened her heart, but the specters of her past loomed large, threatening to suffocate the newfound love she had discovered. As the days turned into weeks, Evelyn found herself torn between her blossoming relationship with Julian and the insecurities that threatened to consume her. The library became both a sanctuary and a battleground, a place of comfort, yet fraught with the weight of her unresolved feelings. One evening, as they explored the library, Evelyn stumbled upon a hidden door at the back of the building. It was slightly ajar, beckoning her to uncover its secrets. Curiosity piqued. She turned to Julian. "Should we see what's inside?" He hesitated, a flicker of uncertainty crossing his face. "Are you sure? Sometimes it's better to leave things hidden." But the whispers urged her forward, and Evelyn felt a magnetic pull toward the door. She reached out, pushing it open to reveal a narrow staircase leading down into darkness. "We have to go down," she said, excitement dancing in her eyes, with a mixture of trepidation and exhilaration. They descended the stairs, the air growing cooler with each step. The flickering light from Julian's phone illuminated the walls, revealing a small chamber filled with forgotten relics of old books, dusty artifacts, and remnants of a time long past. In the center of the room stood a pedestal, upon which rested an ornate box. The whispers seemed to intensify, swirling around them like a haunting melody. Evelyn approached the box, her heart pounding with anticipation. "What do you think it is?" she asked, her fingers brushing against the intricate carvings. "Only one way to find out," Julian replied, his voice barely above a whisper. With trembling hands, Evelyn lifted the lid, revealing a collection of letters tied with a faded ribbon. As she carefully unraveled the bundle, she discovered that the letters were love letters, each one filled with passionate words and yearning. "Can you imagine the stories behind these?" Julian mused, his voice filled with wonder. These were people who dared to love against the odds. As they read through the letters, Evelyn felt a deep connection to the writers. Their emotions resonated within her, echoing her own struggles with love and vulnerability. She couldn't help but feel that the whispers were guiding her to confront her fears and embrace the love she had found with Julian. But as they continued to explore the chamber, a chill swept through the air. The whispers shifted, taking on a more urgent tone. Evelyn felt a sense of foreboding wash over her, as if the shadows were warning her to be cautious. "Maybe we should head back," Julian suggested, glancing around nervously. "I don't like the way the atmosphere feels down here." Reluctantly, Evelyn nodded. They made their way back up the stairs, the weight of the letters pressing heavily in her hands. As they emerged into the library's main hall, the whispers seemed to fade, leaving behind a sense of emptiness. In the days that followed, Evelyn became increasingly preoccupied with the letters and their implications. The stories contained within them stirred something deep within her, a desire to break free from the shackles of her past and embrace the love that Julian offered. One evening, as they sat together in the library, Evelyn gathered her courage. "Julian, I want to talk about us," she said, her voice steady. "Okay," he replied, his expression serious. "I've been scared to fully let you in," she admitted, her heart racing. "But I want to try. I want to explore this connection between us." A smile broke across Julian's face, and relief flooded through her. "I've been waiting for you to say that, but there's something I need to share first," she continued, feeling the weight of her past pressing on her chest. "I've been hurt before, and it's made me hesitant to trust again." Julian reached for her hand, his grip reassuring. "I understand, but I'm not him. I care about you, Evelyn. I want to build something real." In that moment, the whispers in the dark transformed into a chorus of hope. She felt the walls she had built around her heart begin to crumble as she leaned in closer, allowing herself to fully embrace the love she had been denying. But just as their lips met, the lights flickered ominously, plunging the library into darkness. Panic surged through Evelyn as she broke the kiss, her heart racing. What was that? Just a power outage, Julian reassured her, though his eyes betrayed concern. "Let's find the emergency lights." As they stumbled through the darkened library, Evelyn's anxiety mounted. The whispers returned, echoing in her mind, reminding her of the shadows that lurked in the corners. The once enchanting atmosphere now felt suffocating, as if the library were alive, urging her to confront her fears. "Evelyn," Julian's voice broke through her thoughts, pulling her back to reality. "Are you okay?" She nodded, though doubt still gnawed at her. "I just a broken bar. I'm not sure what's happening." "Let's get outside," he suggested, guiding her toward the exit. "We can wait for the lights to come back on." As they stepped outside, the cool night air wrapped around them, offering a brief respite from the darkness. But even as they stood beneath the stars, the weight of the library's secrets pressed down on her. "Do you ever feel like the past has a way of creeping back in?" Evelyn asked, her voice trembling. Julian looked at her, his expression thoughtful. "Only if we let it. The past can haunt us, but it doesn't have to define our future." His words resonated deep within her, igniting a flicker of hope. "You're right," she admitted, a newfound determination washing over her. "I can't let my past hold me back any longer." As they stood together, Evelyn felt the whispers transforming once more, yet this time into a gentle melody of encouragement. She knew she had the power to rewrite her story, to embrace the love that was unfolding before her. With a deep breath, she turned to Julian, her heart filled with resolve. "I want to face this together. I want to build something beautiful with you, regardless of the past." Julian's eyes sparkled with affection, and he took her hands in his. "I'm ready to build the future with you." As they stood beneath the stars, the darkness that had once felt suffocating began to fade away. The library, with all its whispers and secrets, had become a place of healing, a sanctuary where they could confront their fears and embrace the love that had blossomed between them. In the days that followed, Evelyn and Julian forged a deeper bond, exploring not only the library's treasures but also their own hearts. They spent countless hours reading together, sharing their dreams and aspirations, and finding solace in each other's presence. The library, once a haunting ground of whispers, transformed into a place of joy and discovery. One evening, as they sat together on the library's steps, watching the sun dip below the horizon, Evelyn took a deep breath. "I've been thinking about the letters we found," she said, her voice steady. "They remind me that love can endure, even in the face of adversity." Julian nodded, his gaze fixed on her. "Each letter tells a story of resilience and hope, just like us." Feeling emboldened, Evelyn continued, "I want to write my own letter, one that speaks of my journey and the love we've built together." He smiled, encouragement shining in his eyes. "That's a beautiful idea. Let's make it a tradition." Inspired, they spent the following weeks crafting their letters, pouring their hearts onto the pages. As they exchanged them, the act became a ritual of vulnerability and trust, allowing them to lay bare their dreams, fears, and desires. But as the seasons changed, so did the town of Millfield. Whispers of discontent began to circulate among the townsfolk, fueled by rumors that threatened to tarnish the library's newfound joy. Some claimed that the old building was still haunted, that the whispers in the dark were warnings of a tragedy waiting to unfold. Evelyn and Julian brushed aside the gossip, determined to focus on their relationship and the library's revival. They organized community events, inviting locals to rediscover the joy of reading and storytelling. Slowly, the library began to thrive, drawing in visitors eager to share their own tales. But amidst the positivity, Evelyn felt the shadows creeping back in. Late at night, when the library was quiet, she could still hear the faint echoes of whispers, a haunting reminder of the past. They stirred a fear deep within her, whispering doubts that threatened to unravel her hard-won happiness. One evening, while preparing for a community reading event, Evelyn overheard a group of townspeople discussing the library's supposed curse. They speculated about the librarian who had disappeared, blaming the library for misfortune and heartache. Panic surged within her as she realized how deeply rooted the town's fears were. That night, as she lay in bed, Evelyn wrestled with her thoughts. The whispers in her mind grew louder, urging her to confront the truth behind the stories that haunted the library. She needed to uncover the mystery that lay at its heart, to face the darkness that had threatened to consume her. The next day, she approached Julian, her heart racing. "I think we need to investigate the history of this library. We can't let the whispers win." Julian looked at her, concern etched on his face. "Are you sure? What if we uncover something we're not ready for?" "I need to know," she replied, determination lacing her words. "We can't let fear dictate our love or our future." Together, they delved into the library's archives, poring over old newspapers and records. They uncovered stories of the librarian who had vanished, a woman named Margaret Hartwell, who was beloved by the townsfolk but had mysteriously disappeared one stormy night. The tales hinted at a tragic love affair that had ended in heartbreak, leaving Margaret's spirit restless and seeking closure. As they pieced together the fragments of Margaret's story, Evelyn felt a strange connection to the woman. "She was a passionate librarian, just like me," Evelyn mused. "I can't help but wonder if her whispers are intertwined with mine." Julian nodded, a thoughtful expression on his face. "Perhaps she's trying to tell us something." Driven by a desire for understanding, they decided to host a community gathering, inviting the townspeople to share their memories of Margaret. The event turned into a cathartic experience, allowing the community to confront their fears and embrace the love that had once flourished in the library. As stories were shared, Evelyn felt the whispers transform into a gentle breeze of acceptance. The past began to lose its grip on the town, and the shadows that had haunted her heart began to recede. She realized that the library was not just a building, it was a testament to the resilience of love and the stories that connected them all. In the aftermath of the event, the atmosphere in Millfield shifted. The whispers that had once echoed in the dark became a source of inspiration, a reminder that love, even when it faced adversity, could endure. The townsfolk began to celebrate the library as a sanctuary of hope, a place where stories came to life and hearts could heal. With Julian by her side, Evelyn embraced her role as the library's director with renewed passion. She poured her heart into revitalizing the space, creating programs that encouraged creativity and connection. As she continued to write her own letters, she found solace in the knowledge that her journey was intertwined with Margaret's, a shared legacy of love and resilience. As the seasons turned, Evelyn and Julian's love blossomed. They created a life filled with laughter, adventure, and the joy of storytelling. The library became a haven for their relationship, a place where they could explore their dreams and confront their fears together. But even as they thrived, the whispers in the dark remained a gentle reminder of the journey they had undertaken. They learned to embrace the darkness as a part of their story, a reminder that love was not always easy, but it was always worth fighting for. One fateful night, as they sat together in the library, Julian turned to Evelyn with a serious expression. "There's something I need to ask you." Evelyn's heart raced. "What is it?" "I know our journey hasn't been easy, but I can't imagine my life without you," he said, his voice steady. "Will you marry me?" Tears filled Evelyn's eyes as she nodded, a smile breaking across her face. "Yes, 1,000 times. Yes." In that moment, the whispers in the dark transformed into a symphony of joy, echoing through the library as if celebrating their love. They embraced, the warmth of their connection banishing the shadows that had once threatened to consume them. As they planned their future together, Evelyn realized that the library would always hold a special place in their hearts, a sanctuary where they had faced their fears, uncovered hidden truths, and embraced the love that had blossomed amidst the darkness. In the months that followed, they organized a beautiful wedding in the library, surrounded by friends and family who had supported them throughout their journey. The air was filled with laughter and love, and as they exchanged vows, Evelyn felt the whispers transforming into a celebration of life and love. As they stood hand in hand, Evelyn knew that the library had not only become a home for their love but also a symbol of resilience and hope. The whispers in the dark had guided them to each other, urging them to confront their fears and embrace the power of storytelling. In the years that followed, Evelyn and Julian continued to nurture the library, creating a vibrant community where stories came to life and hearts were healed. They shared their letters with the townsfolk, inspiring others to confront their own fears and embrace the beauty of love. And as the library flourished, the whispers in the dark faded into a gentle human reminder of the journey they had undertaken and the love that had blossomed amidst the shadows. They knew that love was a flame that could endure, illuminating even the darkest of nights, and they were ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead, hand in hand. In the end, Whispers in the Dark became more than just a story. It became a legacy, a testament to the power of love, resilience, and the whispers that could guide them through even the darkest of times. And as Evelyn and Julian continued their journey together, they knew that their love story was just beginning, ready to be written among the pages of the library's cherished tales. I hope you enjoyed the story. If you enjoyed, then please like and share this video, and don't forget to subscribe our YouTube channel. Thank you for watching.